What's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy Warren Watches Wrestling back at you with a Monday Night Raw review. Talk about what we like, what we didn't like, what we thought was good, what we thought was bad, where we see things going moving forward. Break down this episode of Raw. I know this video I probably wanted to put out yesterday, but it was 12 o'clock by the time I uploaded all my reactions to Instagram. Go follow me there, Warren Watches Wrestling as well. And we uploaded this one a little late today. It's 10:50 as we speak right now, and I'm just making the video. But we had a quite a long day ahead of us here. We had a 10-hour work day, went to the gym, and we had a basketball men's league game tonight, so we played in that, and our body's aching. But you guys did not come here to hear about my excuses. You came here to see what we think about Monday Night Raw. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Up first, we're going to talk about the Judgment Day. I know we're going to go out of order here. That's fine. I'm going to talk. I have really not much written down. I'm just kind of going to go off the head here, but in one take, mind you. That's the goal, at least. But I want to talk about the Judgment Day. This episode was about 75% Judgment Day and 25% everything else. So the Judgment Day had multiple segments. The first segment that we see, they're in the back. They're pressing Danhausen because they need their human monies back. They want their money back. They got robbed. They want their money, whatever. So they're pressing him. They're calling him, saying they're going to beat him up if he doesn't give them their money. And then we come back, and now Danhausen is in the ring, talking about he wants to give the money away to the fans. So of course, Judgment Day come back out. We have Dom, JD, and Liv, which I don't know why Liv is a part of this feud. She should be doing her own thing with Io Sky, but instead we have her wrapped in the Danhausen feud, which is really annoying. We'll get into that later, but that is kind of annoying. But anyway, we have Dom and JD come out to kind of jump Danhausen, try to steal the money back. And then we have Joe Hendry comes out. I guess someone whispered his name, but Joe Hendry comes out of nowhere, makes the save to Danhausen, setting up those matches for later. Then later on, we get another segment from the Judgment Day, and then we have the Judgment Day backstage with Adam Pearce. They're yelling at him about, they want their money. He's yelling at them, and then JD throws the bag. It hits Oba. Of course, it hits Oba. So then we set up the match with Oba Femi and JD, and then we also set up another match with Dom and Joe Hendry. So we had two more segments still to come. So of course we knew during the Oba Femi match, that match was just going to be a squash match. I do think JD and Oba could put on a banger of a match, honestly. They really could, but I knew it was just going to be squash because, we're going to build Oba up. I was kind of hoping we got an Oba promo after the match, at least because they've been doing that after he squashes someone, give him the mic, let him cut a quick little promo, but we didn't get that. We just got a quick little squash match, in and out, and then we had the Joe Hendry and Dominic Mysterio match, which Joe Hendry won. Now, I know it was due to shenanigans with Danhausen coming out with Io Sky, of course, so they could bring Io Sky out to get her on TV to feud with Liv. And then we had Danhausen come out and give the triple D to Dominic Mysterio, while Joe Hendry kind of just crawled into it and got the pin. The match itself was, not that great. And the ending, to me, it made no sense. I said it during my reaction. I was like, Dom hit a DDT, like an off-the-rope DDT. And them two were down for like 3-4 minutes. Legitimately, as Io came out, as Danhausen came out, they're still both down. They're still both out. Io throws Liv in the ring, does a springboard drop kick, does her little headstand, throws Liv out the ring, does a springboard outside the ring. And then Danhausen comes in the ring and then finally picks up Dom, hits Dom with a triple D, and Joe Hendry's still down. So I don't know what this DDT did to Joe Hendry, but he was down for like 3 minutes, and then he crawls on the pin, and then we have Dom getting pinned by Joe Hendry. And I don't know what they're doing here. Like, I thought this feud could be over. And then we did get the announcement that Danhausen is going to take on Dominic Mysterio at SummerSlam. I'm not sure if it's no disqualification. I'm assuming they're going to let it be no disqualification just so they can have all the shenanigans and everything go on in that match that we usually get from Danhausen matches. But it just seems like a lot. At this point last year, not at this point last year, but a little further last year, we just had Dom beating John Cena at Survivor Series, right? We had Dom beat John Cena for the IC title at Survivor Series. We had the whole Judgment Day look good. Now we got Joe Hendry, and this is no disrespect to Joe Hendry, but let's just be honest. He's not really being booked well. He's not being booked strong, and he pins Dom Mysterio. So the SummerSlam feud, it's not really a match, like, based on the match they just had with JD, it wasn't that great. It was kind of boring. I know they had Kat come out and chokeslam them, but the match overall was pretty bad in my opinion. I think it was very boring. Even like the slapstick spots were not that funny or not that great. And it's not that I don't like Danhausen. I do think he's funny. I do think he's being shoved down people's throat paws, but like he really is being shown a little too much where it's kind of taken away from the flavors, taken away from the fun. It's not something that you can see on 6 segments through the night. Like I said, all those segments we had of just a Judgment Day. And part of me was a little confused here. I know I'm just rattling, but part of me was confused because we did also get a commercial segment with a Judgment Day where it was Raquel and Roxanne announcing the match for the Intercontinental Championship next week. So Ruca versus Raquel. But they weren't with Liv, JD, or Dom really at all throughout the episode. So I'm kind of curious if we are going to get this breakup sooner or later, maybe at SummerSlam, maybe after SummerSlam. But they do eventually need to have that breakup. I think Raquel should go out on her own. Roxanne right now is just not doing anything. She was like the prodigy being called up, and she really does nothing. She does get TV time, but doesn't really do much with it because she just eats pins, which I think we should build her up a little bit better than that. Raquel and Soul, I think it could be a good match, but this leads right into the next segment. So it's a good transition, actually. And so we do have Raquel taking on Soul next week, and I do think I wouldn't be mad if Raquel wins, but they kind of gave themselves away with Soul Ruca's promo, where she was cutting a promo on commercial break again, and Lyra came out, and I'm like, yeah, that's the match that we have to run at SummerSlam. It has to be Lyra and Soul Ruca. The interesting thing was with that promo, Lyra did say I ran Bayley out of town. I don't know if we're hinting towards the fact that Bayley is done in WWE, but that's kind of what it sounded like. And I don't want to jump to conclusions or anything, but it really did seem like we were kind of saying, yeah, Bayley's done. Bayley's out of here, is the way it sounded. So I don't wish that. I hope that's not the case, but it does sound like Bayley might be done with WWE is the big thing I picked up in that commercial break. Lyra and Soul should happen at SummerSlam, and no offense to Soul, but I do think Lyra should be winning that. Lyra is doing great work with this character right now. Even her presentation, WWE has been showing love and care to it, and it looks great in the presentation as well. So I do think Lyra should win that at SummerSlam, and they will put on a banger match. They're both great workers too. So I don't know if we're going to get shenanigans or not in the Soul match. I don't think there should be. I think it should just be a clean Soul win. Sorry, Raquel. I know this is like your 8th, 9th, 10th time going after this IC title and losing, but right now they kind of already showed their hand. They're setting up for the next feud with Lyra and Soul Ruca. Talk about something else that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it is what it is the Vision kick off the show. They come down, they're taking on Javon Evans and Dragon Lee. It was an okay match. It was a solid match, but I mean, Javon looked great. Javon was whooping ass. He was doing a great job. I do think Dragon Lee, as great as he is in ring, he is one of the best in-ring workers. He's probably, I would say, top 5 in-ring worker right now in the business. He is terrific in the ring. But him and Javon were taking on the Vision. And like I said, Javon got good offense. I feel like Dragon was just getting his ass beat. And of course, we get shenanigans outside the ring. We get Liv involved. We get we get Maxine involved, I'm sorry. And we get Logan Paul involved. And the Vision ended up picking up the win. And of course, after the match, we get them jumping Javon and Dragon for no reason. And here comes Alpha Academy to make the save. Now, this is where they start to lose me. Yeah, I know we're setting up for this match. I'm not really feeling this storyline too much, but I know some people like it. So we do get Alpha Academy coming out to make the save. And I mean, Otis and Tozawa ran through Braun Breaker and Austin Theory. Otis was destroying both of them. Like, I think Braun Breaker, not that long ago, was being pushed, but now he's getting ran over by Otis. And there's even a part where Tozawa does a suicide dive and starts beating up Braun Breaker. I'm like, there's no way Braun Breaker is getting beat up by Tozawa right now. And he's out the ring struggling with Tozawa before he finally comes in, hits the spear at Otis, and the Vision does end up standing tall as Maxine sits on the top rope and watches it. And then Austin Theory grabs a whole lot of ass when he holds Maxine in the air, but that's besides the point. I thought that was crazy take right there. A little too excited for that. But I do want to talk a little bit more about Braun Breaker. Like I said, just last year he was feuding. He speared Roman Reigns after WrestleMania. He was feuding with Seth Rollins. He was feuding with CM Punk. That picture of him with the title walking down to the ring, we really thought he should, not only could, but should be the next champion, the world heavyweight champion. And I don't know what happened. I know it was the injuries were bad timing or what it might be, but then we really just completely cooled off. I'm not going to sit here and be one of those people that say Braun Breaker is buried or whatever it might be. But having him get ran over by Otis like this and the Alpha Academy like this, it really isn't a great look. I'm assuming they're going to announce this match for SummerSlam eventually. And I really do think at SummerSlam, I don't think Alpha Academy is going to be great champions, but they probably should just win, make it the feel good story, and then have Braun Breaker just turn on these two. Have him spear Austin Theory, have him throw the title at him, have him walk off, turn him babyface, let him do his own thing. If that means he has to go to SmackDown, send him to SmackDown. But we have to start building Braun Breaker back up because he is the future. He is a future star, and he shouldn't be part of these frat boys of Logan Paul and Austin Theory and Maxine. I do think it's time to move on from this. So hopefully SummerSlam's the end, and hopefully pray that Braun Breaker can go do his own thing after this feud's over. Then we had Solo Sikoa come out, which me personally, I'll stand on this. I'm a big Solo Sikoa fan. I really do think he is one of the most charismatic characters on all of wrestling. I think his promo work is terrific. He plays off the crowd well. I don't know how his babyface turn will be because I think he just has a natural heel tendency. So the crowd wants to what him and wants to boo him. But he's funny. His facial expressions are terrific. But Solo comes out, he calls out Seth Rollins. They have a little bit of a back and forth going on. Solo's pretty much saying, hey, I have your back if you need it. And Seth's like, I can't trust you. But I understand both sides. I get where Solo's coming from. Hey, I want to take out the bloodline fully. I have your back. And he did drop the line. He goes, the way you were for Cody, I can be that for you. I'll be your shield. I'll take the bullet for you to beat Roman and put the bloodline to bed. Which I thought that line did kind of hit pretty hard. And Seth was like, I'll think about it. And of course, we had Jacob's music, so Solo leaves, and we see Seth Rollins kick Jacob in the face. Going into SummerSlam, I do think that Seth and Roman, I know they're having a face-to-face next week, which I do think they really do need. The tag match is okay. I can't see the Bloodline losing that tag match just because it's a misfit of guys on the other team. But I thought this segment was okay. I do like Solo in the ring. I think him and Seth obviously have two great promos. So they put on a pretty good segment. After that, we had the tag match with Gable and Penta, who are teaming up. And this wasn't even a will they coexist type of team up. This was just them two teaming up to take on Paige and Rusev. Very random match, but okay match. I really don't think there's too much to talk about in that match. It's just them two winning, putting on a good match. Two great performers. They're going to put an absolute classic at SummerSlam. And then we did have LA Knight come out last. So LA Knight comes out, cuts a promo. I see a lot of people say it was a great promo. I thought it was a random promo. He was kind of all over the place. Don't get me wrong, LA Knight can talk. That boy can talk. But we kind of jumped all over the place. He's talking about how Solo's out here asking, saying he has Seth's back, but you don't trust Seth Rollins. But I'm like, Solo's asking for Seth to beat Roman because Roman's the head of the bloodline. Cut off the head of the snake if you want to beat the rest of the bloodline. So I don't understand how LA Knight's not seeing that or connecting those dots. But that made no sense to me, how he's like, Solo, I can't trust you if you're going to trust Seth. What? I know you don't like Seth, but Seth is trying to beat Roman, and you're trying to beat the rest of the bloodline. Put two and two together here, LA. But then he goes on, he calls out Roman. I know the big line that I remember is he was like, I'm who Roman wishes he was. And what he means by that is LA Knight came to the main roster and has been over with the crowd since he first stepped foot onto the main roster. The crowd's always loved him, whereas Roman, everyone always brings up, he was given opportunity after opportunity, he was given chance after chance until finally the crowd came around and decided to like him after all this time. I thought the promo was long-winded and a lot of randomness, personally. Like I said, I know a lot of people like the promo, but I thought the promo was hit or miss, very, very hit or miss. But, that's just my opinion of it. And then lastly, we got the main event where it was LA Knight taking on Jacob Fatu. And I'm surprised there was a pinfall. I thought this match was just going to end with DQ. These two had an okay back and forth match, and we knew there was going to be interference. So we see Jimmy come down. We see Solo spike Jimmy. We see Jacob take out Solo. We see Royce Keys come down. And then we hear Jey Uso come down. And man, as much hate as Jey Uso has on the internet, these arenas adore Jey Uso, man. Every time his music, hits, man, that crowd goes crazy. They love him in arenas. So I know people online don't like him, but I think he's just so over with the crowd that you can't help it. But they come out. We do see the bloodline end up standing tall. They take out LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo, and they put the fingers up, and that's how the show ends. All in all, I think the episode overall was I thought it was all right. It was watchable. I think it was a little too much Judgment Day. and not a lot of story progression moving forward here. I do think that's everything. I don't really think I missed anything that's too important. I know we had a big cast tease again. He's coming August 3rd. There was a lot of Seth Rollins and Roman hype packages building up toward theirs match and their history. We've seen Paul Heyman cut a pretty solid promo building up the violence inside the Hell in the Cell match. But I think the key points of the show, like I said, it was like 75% Judgment Day. That was most of the show, and I think it was a little overkill with Judgment Day and Danhausen. We could have got some other people on the show. But, no, I think it was a doable show. It's building towards SummerSlam, so we did get another match announced with Dom and Danhausen. I'm assuming Alpha Academy and Division will probably be announced next week. But let me know what you guys think. If you agree with anything I said, I know I just kind of came on here and rambled for a little bit. But if you agree with it, let me know. If you completely disagree with something I said, or if I forgot something that was very important to you, let me know, because there's a good chance I did. Like I said, I'm just coming with this off the top of the head at 11:10 at night. So, with all that being said, it's been Warren Watches Wrestling. Y'all stay beautiful, world.